Welcome to The Creative Influencer, where we discuss all things creative with an emphasis on influencers. The Creative Influencer is hosted by John Pfeiffer. John is an entertainment attorney in Santa Monica, California, who represents influencers and other creatives.
Welcome to the first Minisode of 2023. This year, we're going to try something different. We're going to go through the contracts that are presented to influencers and break down the important provisions in each of those contracts. We'll start by taking a deep dive into the key terms of management agreements. These are extremely important because an unfavorable management agreement can bind an influencer to working with that manager for several years. After working through the terms of management agreements, we'll turn to influencer brand agreements. Then we'll look at the provisions of merchandise agreements, podcast agreements, personal assistant agreements, tour agreements, editor agreements, and agency agreements. We'll talk about the systematic approach I use to review all of the various agreements that are presented to influencers. Here we go. When I receive any influencer agreement, I first review it to confirm that the agreement actually reflects the basic terms that were agreed to. Many times, the person who negotiated the agreement with me does not accurately communicate those terms to the person drafting the agreement. That results in a contract that doesn't match the deal. That's when we push back. We tell the brand or agency that the agreement must be changed to track our deal. This is the time for an important digression. Rarely does a manager, brand, merchandise manufacturing company, podcast production company, or tour producer ask the influencer to provide an agreement. Instead, the influencer will be presented with a, quote, standard agreement. And that is exactly how they will refer to their agreement. It's our standard agreement. You should take that with a grain of salt. Agreements are always negotiable, and that's where I come in. We start this series with manager agreements because the first person on an influencer's team is often the manager. The second person hired generally is me, the lawyer. The third person varies depending upon the influencer. It could be an editor, or a personal assistant, or an agent, or even a glam squad. Because I'm the second person on the team, I'm generally not there when the first management agreement is negotiated. Hence the need for this series. Too often I see agreements that are bad for the creator. So our next minisode will start our discussion of influencer management agreements. As we go down this road, please let me know if you would like us to elaborate on any particular topic. And so, our journey begins.
That's it for this time. If you enjoyed our podcast, please write a review on iTunes and tell your friends to subscribe. If you have any questions about influencers or suggestions for future episodes, email them to John at Pfeiffer@pfeifferlaw.com. Thank you for listening.